as part of our thinking about the Green Business Program and how we could support it, we thought it would be a good idea to reach out to our existing green businesses and find out what that process was like for them. And we weren't really sure what we were going to learn when we went out to talk to all these businesses. As some of you know, we have 10 businesses in Cupertino that are certified out of thousands, and we thought, gee, we think we can do better than that. And so we thought, well, maybe there's something that's really difficult about this, or that we need to figure out and work on in order to make this process work for others. And actually, as we found out, that we have very happily certified, green certified businesses in Cupertino, and we wanted them to come and share their story with all of you because we think it will inspire you. I'll also mention that we have another green business in the audience, which is Sweet and Savory Catering Company, and so we hope that during the breaks that you actually take an opportunity to interact with these businesses because they have lots of great information to share. So let me make some introductions here. Josh Hogan is with the Cypress Hotel and also Park Place Restaurant. Both of those businesses separately are green certified. And to Josh's right, or to your left, is Mary Payne with the Driving Machine, a longtime Cupertino business. They do BMW automotive repair. And Adam Montgomery at the end, last but not least, is with Real Estate Association for basically Realtor Association called Silvar. And all three of them have gone through the green certification process. And what's beautiful about this panel is that all of the businesses are a little bit different. We've got a restaurant, a hotel, an automotive business, and then Silvar is really what I would just call functioning as in a traditional office setting. So they all have a little bit of a different twist on this story. So I want to start with a very basic question, and this came up when we met with all of these businesses individually. We wanted to know what the impetus was. Why did they decide that they wanted to become a certified green business, and what value has it brought to their organization? And I thought it would be an interesting place to start with Adam, because he doesn't have a traditional, retail storefront business. So we're curious about what Silvar found as an impetus, and if you could touch on leadership as part of your response would be great.
Okay. Well, just to have a little more information about our organization, Silicon Valley Association of Realtors, and we're part of the California and the National Association of Realtors, which is one of the largest trade associations in the nation. Locally here, we represent about 4,000 members, and we try to create a network of real estate agents. And all of our members sign a code of ethics to be part of our organization. So one thing to think about is all realtors are real estate agents, but not all real estate agents are realtors. So that's kind of a general background of what we are, and we offer a lot of services to our members, including a store in Cupertino. So we have a little bit of a retail component, but not to the degree of some of these other businesses up here. The reason why we decided to do it is kind of leadership. We thought it was important to our members for them to be aware of the program, to be aware of what they can do on their own to improve, not only reduce their electrical bills, but also improve their stature in the community of being a leader and trying to be a green business. We learned about the program through actually Palo Alto Chamber of Commerce program, where they were trying to get businesses to join. So it wasn't through, even though we were located in Cupertino, it was through a program out of the Palo Alto Chamber of Commerce that convinced us to join and try to become a certified green business. We were the first certified association in the state 3 years ago, and since then our state association has taken a lot of steps to kind of follow us and also become a certified green business at the state level. There's a lot of efforts nationwide on this issue, but I think it was important to show a commitment to that and also to our members that we were trying to do everything we could to be as efficient as possible. So that they're members of our organization, and so they want to make sure we're being efficient with their money. So that's another key piece of it.
So Josh and Mary, if you could chime in too with your take on this. And one of the things that is worth mentioning here is that in both of their businesses, there is actually an industry standard for both hotels and also for automotive businesses that kind of parallels the county's green green business process. So if you could kind of touch on how you were able to kind of approach this on a dual track.
Shall I?
Yeah.
Okay. So, again, I'm Josh Hogan. I'm with Kimpton Hotels, and we have the Cypress and Park Place restaurant here in Cupertino. And I think one of the important things for us is the question is really what's the impetus behind really getting this rolling. One of the lucky things for myself and for Kimpton is we're a hotel company that was really grown out of California. We started in San Francisco, and as I was discussing with some of you in the audience here earlier, we are lucky to be in a state that really has, and has for quite a long time, provided some influence in this direction and helped us to really push forward in these directions and build green businesses. So Bill Kimpton founded our company 20 years ago with an earth care program in the 80s. So we had a little bit of a starting ground to work from, but really not until the last 5 or 6 years have things really expanded. I think we owe a lot of that to our ability to communicate as a culture and with social media and with the internet in general, and it's really brought us together a little bit as a country and brought some of our values here from where we are in San Francisco and with Kimpton out to other areas. So that said, one of the biggest things that has helped us over the last 3 years is that there are now standards and there are more recognizable standards. So being on the sales and marketing side from a hotel industry standpoint, we all want to do something that's good for ourselves and good for the environment, but now we have the opportunity to also see an ROI on that. 5 years ago, you might have had 30 people that would certify your hotel green. You could have 5 green leaves or 5 green trash bags, or instead of a gold star, and now it's really becoming more and more specific where there are industry standards where people can go to hotel websites and see a rating or a green seal certification, which we have at Kimpton Hotels, all 10 of our hotels in San Francisco and here in Cupertino, and know that there's a little bit of reliability behind that. And we're starting to see that customers see a certification and it's not as greenwashed. They know that we are actually doing things to achieve that certification. So that's what right now is really spurring things forward, in that we have partners out there outside of our industry, both locally in Cupertino and across the country, that help us to get the message out that we're green. So not only can we do it for ourselves because it's the right thing to do, but we can also really build our company around that message and garner more business because of that message. So that's one of the larger ROIs from that.
Yeah. Well, I'm Mary Payne. I'm from the Driving Machine in Cupertino. And my husband started the business with BMW back in 1981, and he's been in Cupertino that entire time. We chose to become a green business because it plays into our philosophy of what we do as a small business, which in many cases, I think almost every small business owner is conservative. They are watching their electric bills. They are watching their water usage. In our industry, we have very strict rules as far as what the best practices are for recycling, reusing. Your antifreeze is recycled, your oil is recycled. We're actually responsible for every ounce of fluid that goes in and out at our business, and there's strict reporting efforts that go along with that. So being green was just part of our own philosophy. And as Josh was saying, it's a credential. In automotive, I think that's very important, that we have another credential, that the community know that we're doing our best all the time. And being green is just another aspect of that. Thank you.
So I'd like you to continue, Mary, because as Josh mentioned, part of the ROI is getting the word out that you are green, and all three of you are doing kind of unique things in that area. Maybe you could talk about your bags and your blog, different ways of letting people know.
Yeah. We actually, at our business, we have, I had printed a very nice reusable bag, kind of like the ones that you take to the grocery store. And people also use them at school, I'm understanding, because it's got a very nice large base to it, and it has our logo on it. So we give those to our customer. I made sure that in playing with what we try to do in our business, quality is very important to us. So I made sure that I got the best one that I could. I did pay a little bit more for it, but I know everybody's going to use it for a long time. And once again, it's got our logo on it. So I see those at the local stores. I see them at Whole Foods and in the neighborhood at De Anza College. So it's a good thing.
And you actually blog about environmental topics,
Yeah,
don't you?
I do. I do have a blog on our website. And of course, a lot of it is BMW specific. A lot of it has to do with environmental issues, with new rules that we have. We try to remind people that if they are trying to do any automotive repair, to make sure that they handle everything responsibly and safely and according to the law. So we do our part, I think, every day with being green, and it's very important in automotive because for such a long time we had a bad, not our business, but for such a long time automotive repair as an industry did not have a good image to the community. There were too many pictures of mechanics with dirty hands and things like this, and that's just not the case anymore in this industry because the cars have changed. They are becoming every day more environmentally friendly, which they started with OBD2 back in the 80s, and then OBD1. Now we're into OBD2 and eventually OBD3, which is your onboard diagnostics, which is controlling your fuel efficiency and your emissions. So when that check engine light comes on, that's all about clean air. So keep that in mind.
That's a good point.
Thank you.
So when you go to Silvar or the driving machine, the first thing you notice on their doors, they have the seal that they are green businesses. But Josh, a lot of people make decisions to go to a hotel before they arrive at your front door. So how do you let them know about your status?
Right. We have very few people that walk into the hotel that were just driving down the street and decided they needed a hotel room. So we really need to get that message out there in other ways. And one of the really great things about the last couple of years is that we run the largest four-diamond hotel in Cupertino, and we don't buy media. There's so much out there that you can do from a networking standpoint, and utilizing a lot of the green resources as well as a network to get your message out there. So, I'm talking from two different standpoints here. There's a very guest-centric idea that we have in the hotel, whereas we are such a consumption-based building. We have basically 224 miniature studio homes that we turn over every night. And then there's a very marketing-centric aspect of this. And that's where we use this to get our message out and bring people in the door. So this is probably very typical for every industry out there, but I'll speak to hotels and hopefully you can draw some parallels. Every site that's out there, an Expedia, our hotel website, TripAdvisor, Facebook, whether it's a site you go to for a review or a site you go to make a comment or to actually visit the hotel, there is now opportunity to, on almost every one of those, have a green flag or a green seal logo or something that indicates to that buyer that you're certified in some way, shape, or form. And I would venture to guess that although that is extremely popular in the hospitality industry, that's becoming more and more common in all of our industries. And as we go through right now, looking at next year, I'm receiving multiple requests for proposals in terms of what are our rates going to be? Do you have group opportunities for us next year? And everyone coming to us looking to place an opportunity with us has these questions listed somewhere in their request. And on an individual level as well, when you're on Expedia, the next time you want to look for a hotel and you go to either the hotel website or an e-channel, take a look at how many hotels or restaurants on that site have a green recommendation next to them or how many of them don't. And is that influencing your own personal buying decision? And we're starting to see that really in the last 2 years, that not only is it just PR, now it's actually having an influence because people want to make a buying decision because of it.
Adam, thank you, Josh. That's really, I think, relevant to everybody. Adam, you actually gotten some help in your marketing from the realtors who belong to the association. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So like what they've done in terms of using certifications yet. So a few years ago when we first did this, there wasn't a lot of talk in the industry about green certification, but in 2007, it kind of picked up, and our national association actually has a green designation that our members can get through taking a number of courses. We were the first association in the state to offer the courses at our association, where they can get a green designation, and that educates them on things about property, things about homes, and things about their own business practice they can do to be more green. And what our members have done with that is they've branded themselves with that. So they're able to have, as part of their title, there's actually a green designation that's the same as an Esquire or something like that. You put it on the end of their name, they actually have a green designation. So they've been able to rebrand themselves as experts in that field. So people who are looking at trying to buy a home or buy a property with certain attributes, they're able to speak to those attributes. So that's kind of been a key part of why we did it, is they can see, okay, I can brand myself the same way and bring new customers in. And so our members are always interested in bringing more customers in, but they also are interested in bringing in new skill sets. And that's kind of what this program led to.
Customers. I'm glad you brought that up. Because we want to know if being a green business actually increases customers. And we've kind of already heard from Josh on this one. But Mary, I was very interested in something that you said about your referrals from the Green Business website. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, the website, the Santa Clara County Bay Area Green Business, the website, we do have people that go to that site and then come to our website, and I know they come into our business also. So once again, from a branding standpoint, from an individual company, it's letting your customer know that you are going the extra mile to do the right thing. And I think that's very important no matter what kind of business that you have. Now in our case, we had to do a lot of education with our employees to make sure, this is why we start using paper cups versus the plastic cup, or, that type of thing. So there was some amount of education that went on with our employees, but everybody was on board with it, and it's great.
There was something else that came up in discussion that Mary and I had about cross referrals. And I said, gee, I wish I had a BMW, I would take it to your shop. And she said, well, actually I can make it, you have a Toyota. Well, let me give you the name of another business that we know of that does, so I find it interesting that there's this whole network emerging now where green businesses are making cross referrals to other green businesses, and there's kind of a word of mouth thing that happens that's pretty exciting. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that.
Yeah, I actually just this week found a great magazine that's published here in the South Bay called Eucalyptus, and it's distributed for free at Whole Foods. They're based out of Los Gatos, and that was a great partnership that we just started to build within the last 2 weeks, and it just rings true for that. And there are so many, especially again in Northern California, ways for us to help each other and then get the message out from there.
That's the most powerful form of marketing, right? We all know it's the referral. And I've got the name on the list.
Plug.
Did you? Yeah, I know, really, exactly. They can. We'll build them later. So the next question I know you can all comment on, which is, since being certified, have your energy costs been reduced? And we're interested in generally other kind of reductions that you've seen or increases. I mean, I think people are worried that the recycled paper is going to cost more, and that there's some give and take there. So if you could each kind of talk about where some of those savings have been, and the place maybe where you realized the most savings and maybe didn't expect to see.
Sure, I'll start here with, I'm going to start with an open comment in that in terms of very specific savings over a long period of time, I'd be happy to speak to anyone after the panel and actually work with Aaron, who's here as well, to kind of look at what are the options for your particular business, because it just varies so dramatically. But this is where the rubber really hits the road for us. So I'm here because I really need to know everything that's going in our hotel so that I can bring it outside the hotel and let people know about it. But our operations team, our general manager, front office manager, chief engineer, these are the people that really make it work for us. And they spent the better part of last year really going through everything we needed to do to get Green Seal certified. And it was a long process. It took at least 6 months of preparation and really bringing new ideas in. Little things, we went to, Recology hosted at our hotel a 2-hour training on recycling. Half of us were going in there thinking, really, I know how to recycle. And we left learning a lot of things about what's compostable, what's not, and how to do it in an office environment so that you're not composting next to your desk and now you have fruit flies, those type of things. But from a bigger picture at the hotel, when you're running a business as large as that, your savings are greater and they're also more long-term. So that's why I encourage everyone to really look at what type of assistance you can get, either just from a knowledge base from your local government or your peers here. Because, for example, the investment that we're going to make next year in CFLs in the hotel is significant. We're going a step above because our guests want dimmable CFLs. Those are very hard to find, and now they're very expensive because they're new. So there are some parts of this where if you don't have the upfront capital, we know we're going to make money in 5 years on energy costs on this. But how do you help yourself get it done now? If you're in a building that only needs 3 CFLs, you can do it probably. But if you're in one with 220 rooms, it's going to be a little more difficult. So a lot of the savings from this are still 2 to 5 years down the road. Some of them are more immediate, but seek local assistance, again, for how do you make that initial impact so it will last. And then, there's a lot of very, very specific things in terms of water usage and electricity and recycling that we can all do on a smaller scale. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Other.
Well, I think, as Josh said, there are some things that are a little bit more expensive going in. So there's styrofoam versus paper. Your paper plates, those are going to be more expensive than the styrofoam. But I think once you start training your employees on the conservation effort, you'll find that you use less paper, you use less products, because they're just more cognizant of what's going on. So they're making sure that they use their own coffee cup. They're not throwing a paper one, recycling. So it's the cost savings. I know we recently just did something with Butch, with PG&E, came out and did an audit for us, and we're in the process determining whether or not we can change out all of our lights. We have a different situation of lights versus what Josh has, but once you encourage your employees and once they see that they can make a difference, I think you get the buy-in from them, and then pretty soon you find out that you're just using less wastable products.
Adam?
Yeah, so we're actually a tenant. We don't own the building we're in right now, and there's about 3 other tenants in the building we're in. So it's difficult for us to track the energy usage, but we were able to find that in the early stages, and it's pretty much stayed consistent, that the total building energy use has gone down. But I think the main thing is when you're entering this process is not to be entirely concerned about cost, because one of the things I've had to make sure that I had was commitment from our leadership and our management to do this. Because if they're not committed to doing it, they're going to look at the first couple of price tags and say, well, forget this. I'm not going to upgrade to this type of paper. I'm not going to change this and that. Because it takes a commitment to want to do it as a business. So long as you have that commitment, you'll be able to make certain changes that will allow you to do stuff. For instance, we had an issue with paper. Where we were using only the right type of paper that our office manager said would not jam our copier. Well, that was a pre-assumption that was made based on just what they want to do for cost. And so we were able to say, no, we need to do recycled paper, and it took a couple months. But I was able to show through trial and error that by putting recycled paper in without her knowing it, that it wouldn't jam. And we were able to convince them that it was worth the investment to switch to recycled. And we do that now. So it just takes a lot of commitment from your upper management to make sure that this is what you want to do. And so long as that commitment's there, I think the cost part of it will come along as well.
Well, that's great. You had some good words of advice there, and that's kind of where I wanted to end this piece, and maybe we'll have time for just a couple of questions. But any final words of advice that you would have to any of the lovely people out here who are thinking about embarking on this process?
It's an exciting time to be embarking on a process like this. I feel that from a business standpoint, this is one of the first we're really at the beginning stages of where, as a community, sometimes it's unfortunate, but once we find ways to make money from something, that's when it really hits the ground running. And believe it or not, right now, I mean, there's a very large ROI on this as well. So we have the benefit of being in a community where we can do something we feel good about and move our businesses forward by doing it. And you just brought a great point to mind, Adam, in that it's the little things too. I mean, I think we've had the exact same copier problem, you know, and when these things get so mundane and gets in your head about it's just paper. If you say that about everything, then you can add up some very significant cost savings today, and then the longer term stuff will come. So get out there and make some money off of something that's good to do for the environment as well.
Well, it's another way to set yourself apart. In our situation, we are the only automotive business that is certified green in Cupertino, and we belong to a large organization, the Automotive Service Councils of California, Automotive Service Association they're based in Texas, and there just aren't enough people in automotive, in my view, that are following this path. And I think that, as Josh said, it's a new movement, and if you get on board now, you'll set yourself apart from your competition, and it's not that hard to do. So I encourage everyone to become a green business.
Yeah, and I guess words of encouragement or advice would be to just go ahead and try it, see what happens. I think the people who work with, when we did it, we worked, I think, with folks from Allied Waste, or Los Altos Waste, and some other groups in the county, and they were very helpful. We didn't really know where we were going at first, and there wasn't a lot of education at that point on this issue, and I think you guys are in a better situation, so at least going to walk you through it. But, from them just talking to us and kind of walking through our office, we thought we were doing everything right. Okay, and we had two, one recycling bin, one trash bin at every desk, but then we found out that the janitors were just throwing everything in the trash. And so we didn't actually figure that out until they did a walkthrough with us and said, well, where's all your recycling going? You guys don't have a recycling bin in the back. And so, this process, by just them meeting with us and sitting down with us, they were able to work with us. So I think just starting and seeing where you end up is probably a way. If you don't get certified, it's not the end of the world, but at least you're trying to make some steps to get in the right direction.
Great. And Josh, did you want to make a little announcement about?
Oh, well, no, I brought these only because I was searching for stuff I could bring that was printed and was still safe to bring to this panel discussion. It's printed on recycled paper using soy-based ink. One of the things that we do as a company is we have 3 main organizations we work with. Trust for Public Land is one of them. So I left these out for people coming in today. This is a great example of how to promote your business. Basically, we're giving we donate $10 if you book using the rate code that's on here. But I brought this more as an example of something you can do as a business. So to really grab that customer who is really trying to make that purchasing decision based on an Earth Care program, this doesn't drive additional revenue for us. It drives additional exposure. We're giving a little bit away and really showing our partnership with someone else out there. Again, it's all about really working to build those partnerships with other organizations.
Great. Before we go into questions, can we just give a round of applause for this group? We really appreciate you sharing your experiences with us today and for the leadership that you're showing in this area.